Okay. So, we will continue with the discussion of mathematics in Brahmasputa Siddhanta. So, now is the second part. So, mainly we will be discussing the diagonals of a cyclic quadrilateral, then rational triangles and quadrilaterals, then chords of a circle. So, that is the plane figures. So, then we go to the volumes with uniform and tapering cross sections, pyramids and frustums, and shadow problems. So, earlier we had discussed the circumradius of a triangle and a cyclic quadrilateral. So, we will now discuss the diagonals. So, Brahmagupta does not specifically mention that it is a cyclic quadrilateral, but it is applicable only to that. So, what does he say? Karnashrita bhujagataekam ubhayathanyonya bhajitam gunayet yogena bhuja pratibhuja varayoho karnau pade vishame. The sums of the product of the sides about both the diagonals being divided by each other, multiply the quotients by the sum of the products of the opposite sides. The square roots of the results are the diagonals in a trapezium. So, this is a cyclic quadrilateral ABCD and with sides A, B, C and D, and the diagonals are AC and BD, and sum of the product of the sides about the diagonal AC. Okay. So, he talks about the sum of the products of the sides about the diagonal AC. So, that is AB, you see this is one side. So, these are the two sides abutting this diagonal, and the other, if we take the other part, it is CD. So, AB plus CD. So, similarly for the diagonal BD, it is AC plus BD, and sum of these things, sum of the products of opposite sides is AD plus BC. So, these are the three things we want. Then the result is AC is D1 is equal to square root of AC plus BD by AB plus CD into AD plus BC, and BD is the other diagonal is AB plus CD. So, this is the interchange, So, AB plus AD, this will go up, and AC plus BD, this will come down. This AD plus BC, that is the product of the sum of the products of opposite side, that will be the same. So, these are the results for the two diagonals, and note that D1 D2 is AD plus BC, which we will be using, it will be useful later in many applications. So, this is the first time that the diagonals of a cyclic quadrilateral individually have been given, and it came to be discovered much later, around 17th century or so in Europe, and earlier result they had only the Ptolemy's result and the product of the diagonals, not the individual diagonals. So, the individual diagonals are given by Brahmagupta for the first time. So, the proof, he would have a proof, I mean one can't get a result like this without having a method to do it, but he has not given it, neither does the commentary give it, and later we will in this series of lectures Yuktibhasha proof will be presented in detail, but for our immediate purpose we will use what is the so called modern way of doing things. So, you have this cyclic quadrilateral ABCD. So, what you do is extend AB to C prime and such that CC prime is perpendicular to AB, ABC prime. Similarly, you drop the perpendicular AD prime on the side CD. Okay. So, then so this ADD prime, see this angle will be So, this angle ADD prime is equal to 180 degrees minus this angle. We know that in a cyclic quadrilateral, right. So, that how that happens. Okay. So, and that is equal to CBC prime. So, this angle is basically equal to this angle. So, and one angle is 90 degree in each of the triangles. So, these two triangles ADD prime and CBC prime, these two triangles are similar. Using this and the theorem of right triangles, one can obtain the stated expression for the diagonals. So, what you essentially do is AC squared. You see AC squared is CC prime square plus AC prime square, okay, and then CC prime squared itself is equal to BC squared minus BC prime square. So, like that you use these expressions, and BC prime is equal to AC prime minus AB. So, using these results is a bit of algebra only, nothing else, no great concept is involved, you can get this result. And both here also the same thing is there, you will get essentially two expressions for AC. So, equating these two, using these similar triangles, using the theorem of the right triangle, one can get this. So, that is a very important result which has been due to Brahmagupta. So, now we will go to what are known as rational triangles and trapezia. So, in Indian mathematics works, so there is some importance is given to construct triangles, quadrilaterals and various figures where all the sides are rational, all the sides are rational. See, that is not always easy to construct. So, that is what is being done. He gives the procedures to construct various figures, mainly triangles with isosceles triangle, right triangle, triangles, scalene triangles, etc. Isosceles trapezia and trapezia with three equal sides where all the sides are rational. See, for instance, for isosceles triangle he gives the following construction. So, you take x and y to be rational, okay, then take the base to be 2 into x squared minus y squared and two sides to be x squared plus y squared, isosceles triangle, and perpendicular is 2xy. So, then one can see that it is rational, wholly rational. Here is a very important thing. So, if we take this right angle triangle, okay, so one side is x squared minus y squared, the other side is x squared, the diagonal is x squared plus y squared and the perpendicular is 2xy. So, this is used to construct the Pythagorean triplets which Professor Ram Subramanian was telling, okay. So, by using integral values for x and y, you can get various things, 3, 4, 5 and various other things you can get. And another way to do it is essentially the same principle is involved. So, suppose you take the side A which is arbitrary, and suppose you have some arbitrary x number, means rational number again. So, then you take the upright to be half of a squared by x minus x, then the diagonal will be half of a squared by x plus x, and it is equal to square root of b squared plus a squared. So, it will be rational, okay. So, that comes a slight non-triviality. Please remember that, because if you take one triangle, right angle triangle with sides 1 and upright 1, the diagonal will be root 2, it will not be rational. So, you have to have some method of constructing the rational thing, that is what is being done here. Now, for an isosceles trapezium, so essentially it uses these right triangles with the rational sides, and for instance, isosceles trapezium, if you start with some right triangle with A, side A, upright B and diagonal C, then you can take this B to be some half of a squared by y minus y kind of thing, and take the summit to be something like this, and base to be s plus 2b, okay, where x is another rational number. So, essentially what you have is this kind of a rational isosceles trapezium. These are the two abutting triangles here, ABC, A is the upright, these are all rational. The summit S, in fact you can take summit S to be arbitrary rational number, and you will get this, base will be of course 2b plus S. Now, a more non-trivial thing is a rational trapezium with three equal sides. So, this is not that easy. So, start with a triangle with side A, upright B and diagonal D, you start with that. So, then you construct the three equal side is constructed like this. The three equal sides, capital D is a squared plus b squared. So, this side, this one and this one, a squared plus b squared, and the b is 3a squared minus b squared, and this base minus summit by 2. So, this will be a squared minus b squared. So, essentially this is a squared minus b squared. So, this is a squared plus b squared, and this will be necessarily be 2ab. So, all three sides will be equal and this base will be the different, all rational. So, next he constructs a cyclic quadrilateral in a very ingenious manner. So, there is a very interesting construction that comes in Brahmasputra Siddhanta. Verse 38 says, Jatyadvaya koti bhujaha parakarna gunaha bhujaha chaturvishame adikova bhurmukha muno bahudvitayam bhujau anyau. The uprights and sides of two rectangular triangles reciprocally multiplied by the diagonals or the four dissimilar sides of a trapezium, the greatest is the base, the least is the summit, and the two others are the flanks. So, what he is doing is, he considers two rational right angle triangles. So, that is A1 upright is A1, B1, C1 all rational, similarly A2, B2, C2. So, then what he does is C2 into B1 is one side, C1 into B2 is other side, then C1 into A2 and C2 into A1. So, you are reciprocally multiplied the sides and the diagonals of other triangle. Okay. So, this is the cyclic quadrilateral from right triangles, and one can show that actually, of course, he is just giving the sides, but one should see what exactly are the segments also. Bhaskara too discusses this in detail in his Leelavati and gives the diagonals, and Buddhivilasini of Ganesha Devagna explains the construction in more detail. So, what he does is this C1, A1, B1. Okay. So, this is one right triangle. So, what you do is you multiply all the sides by the upright of the other triangle. So, you will get this, then multiply all these things quantity C1, B1, A1 by the side of that. So, that is other thing. Okay. So, these are the two triangles we generated, and similarly from the C2, B2, A2. So, these are the four triangles, and you place them together, you have to place them properly. So, what you do is, this triangle C2, B1, one B1, B2 should come here, C2, B1, B1, A2, B1, B2. That will be one triangle, as you can check. The other triangle there will be one more triangle beside B1, B2, upright B1, B2, and like this. So, if you put all these things together, then it will be the cyclic quadrilateral. In fact, one can see that it is the diagonals are meeting perpendicularly here. You see, the two diagonals are intersecting at right angles. So, this is Brahmagupta does not give this fully, he has given the sides only, but this is how it can be constructed. So, this is one of the methods, various interesting methods that we frequently come across in Indian mathematics, generation of various kinds of things, using some simple concepts. So, not just generalities, but construction of various things with some specific properties. So, here the sides are, as I have mentioned, C2 B1, C1 B2, and the other sides are C2 A1, C is equal to C1 A2, and the diagonals will be A1 B2 plus A2 B1. So, this particular construction will give the parts of the diagonal also, and it can be checked that the circumradii of both the triangles ABC and ABD, so they are C1 C2 divided by 2. So, that means because if it is cyclic quadrilateral, then the circumradius of the two triangles which are involved, they should be equal. So, that is guaranteed. So, the figure is indeed a cyclic quadrilateral. Then the expression for diagonals, you are by construction itself you have got the diagonal, but we had got the expression for the diagonals from Brahmagupta in a general way, right. So, they should coincide. One can check that the diagonal D1 is AC plus BD into AD plus BC by AB plus CD, that is A1 B2 plus A2 B1, A1 A2 plus B1 B2. So, all these are, so this is a very good construction. Bhaskara will actually generalize this. So, here using these four triangles we have constructed one cyclic quadrilateral whose diagonals are intersecting perpendicularly. Later Bhaskara will give another cyclic quadrilateral using the same triangles, but but two triangles are interchanged kind of a thing. So, then the diagonals will not intersect perpendicularly. So, another thing he is giving. So, then another very interesting kind of a problem is discussed very briefly in Ramasputa Siddhanta as characteristic of many books. It is just given in one verse, but it contains a lot of information, but it does not give the details. He says, Ishtagunakara gunito girjuchayah purantara manashtam duyutam gunakara bhajita utpato anyasya samagatyoho. The height of the mountain taken into a multiplier arbitrarily put is the distance of the town. That result being reserved and divided by the multiple added to 2 is the height of the leap. The journey is equal. Okay, I mean it is just somewhat mysterious, where is the mountain, where is the leap and all that. But Purtudaka Swami will, the commentator will give some detail. He explains the situation in the commentary. On the top of a certain hill are 2 ascetics. One of them, being a wizard, travels through the air. Springing from the summit of the mountain, he ascends to a certain elevation and proceeds by an oblique descent diagonally to a neighboring town. The other, walking down the hill, goes by land to the same town. Their journeys are equal. I desire to know the distance of the town from the hill and how high the wizard rose. So, what is being discussed is the following. So, here this is a hill H, so this is the base and this is the summit of the hill, there is a town here. Okay. So, 2 ascetics are here, okay. One of the ascetics who he is not so interesting. So, he will just get down from this, he will get down the hill and then walk to the town. The other wizard, he will go up, he will leap and then zui, he will go down, you see, using very yogic power. So, he will read that, and it is given that both the journeys are equal. Okay. So, then what is the height and how are they related? So, that is what we have to find. So, in this figure, h is the height of the hill and ch is the distance of the town from the hill, and the c is a multiplier. Okay, just assume that the distance of the town is c times the height of the hill. So, one ascetic clearly he travels this distance h plus ch, right. He goes down and then perpendicularly he goes from the base of the hill to the town. The other ascetic who is more flamboyant, so he will go up by this height, jumps by an amount ch by c plus 2 and he goes diagonally to this thing. So, we will come to the other figure later. So, we have a right triangle, so whose upright is h plus ch by c plus 2. You see this height he has jumped, right, second ascetic, and the side is ch and the diagonal d is clearly, so this h plus you have to add this also h1, h plus ch by c plus 2 whole square plus ch whole square. So, this is the square root of that, that will be the this thing, this diagonal, and the distance travelled by the ascetic is ch by c plus 2 plus d. Naturally, the second ascetic is jumps and then goes along the diagonal. So, we should have this h plus ch must be equal to ch by c plus 2 plus this result. Okay. So, is there any restriction on c or h or whatever it is? In fact, one can see that there is no restriction for every c and h, it is satisfied. So, that is very interesting. For every c and h, this you can check that, and Prutudaka actually takes h is equal to 12 and c is equal to 4 to illustrate the problem. So, the height is 12 and the ascetic is jumping by amount ch by c plus 2 is 4, he is saying c is equal to 4. So, 12 into 4 by 6. So, this is 8. So, clearly the height of the right triangle is 20. Okay. So, here 12 is the height of the hill, 8 is the amount by which he jumps, and the distance of the town from the base of the hill is 48. Okay. So, 48 and this is 20 and then 52 which will be the diagonal, and one can see that. So, the one ascetic is travelling 12 plus 48, other is travelling 8 plus 52. So, they are equal. So, there is a nice application of the right angle triangle. So, the next application that Brahmagupta considers, continuing with the this thing is plane figures, is the circle and some examples and results related to that. So, in 140 the practical or approximate value of the ratio of the circumference and the diameter pi is stated to be 3 and root 10 is stated to be the correct value. So, he is giving an approximate practical value which is used several times in many situations. So, that is taken to be 3 and this root 10 is a value for pi which is there in many books, essentially especially in Jaina works and all that, they always use this root 10 as the approximate value of pi. But I do not know why, though Brahmagupta is following, I mean after Aryabhata and you are aware of his work, somehow he does not give the value of pi which is given by Aryabhata, he does not use it. And area of the circle is stated to be correct, pi r squared, where r is the radius and the semi diameter. I mean it is not stated this way, obviously it is not stated this way, it says that half of circumference into semi diameter as it was told in the last lecture, that is what is written. So, now he will discuss some chords and arrows. Vrutte Sharona Gunitat Vyasat Chaturahatat Padam Jiva Javargas Chaturahata Sharabhaktaha Sharayuto Vyasaha. So, in a circle the chord is the square root of the diameter less the arrow taken into the arrow and multiplied by 4, the square of the chord divided by 4 times the arrow and added to the arrow is the diameter. And in the next verse or part of it will say Ja Vyasak Kruti Visheshat Mula Vyasantarardha Mishuhu Ishuhu Alpaha. Half the difference of the diameter and the root extracted from the difference of the square of the diameter and the chord is a smaller arrow. So, essentially what he is doing is, this is a circle with center O. So, you have this triangle ABC. Okay. So, this is a right angle triangle at A, O is the center of the circle, diameter is BC. So, this is called arrow Shara, which Professor Ram Subramanian mentioned this thing, this is the verse sign, he called it, is related to that. And the Ja is this chord AF, full Ja, you see, and this AD is essentially the sign of this angle AOD. So, that is Jardha, right. So, Ja is the whole Ja is this, chord AF is 2 into AD, so and arrow is CD. Okay, suppose you call it by A and the chord is AF is equal to 2AD, and it is stated that chord is 2AD is square root of D minus A into 4. So, if you know A and D, you can find out chord, and arrow of course it is half of, if you give the chord and the diameter, you can find the arrow which is half of D minus square root of D squared minus chord square. So, this is also a non-trivial result, because you have to use the similarity of this triangle, you see ABD and then some this ADC kind of a thing, and they are both of them similar to the original triangle ABC. I mean I must say give it in the correct order, but that is how it is because of the similar triangles only. So, in fact we will see that now. See, in this triangle ABC, angle BAC is 90 degrees as I said, right, because BC is the diameter. So, triangles ADB and CDA. Okay. So, ADB and CDA. So, this angle is equal to this angle, right, sorry, this angle is equal to this angle and this angle B is equal to this angle here. So, they are similar. So, ADB and CDA are similar. So, AD by DB is equal to CD by AD. So, therefore, you can see that AD squared is equal to DB into CD into D minus A into A, and the chord AD is equal to 2AD is very clearly from this square root of D minus A into 4, square root of 4, because this you have to get this 2. So, this is, I hope it is taught in schools now, because in early we certainly had this result given to us in our high school. So, similarly, if you take square root of d squared minus cot square, you will get d minus 2a, because this is this. So, the a shara is half of d minus 2a is half of d minus this. So, these are stated results. So, now then he talks about intersecting circles, some arrows and erosion as they call, 2 circles, arrows and erosion. So, circle 1 is having diameter d1, this is circle 1, the circle 2 is having diameter d2 and common chord is AF, and arrow corresponding to circle 1 is DH. So, this is the one, right, this is the arrow is A1, and arrow corresponding to the other circle GD is A2, the erosion GH is called erosion, E is equal to A1 plus A2. See, this kind of a thing comes in, for instance, eclipses, this kind of a situation will come, okay, when sun is partially covered by the moon, or moon is partially covered by the earth, okay. So, then this kind of a situation will come, and all these will be actually, one can calculate these things, they are of importance, how much is eroded at any given time after the eclipse starts. So, that is the, I mean, remember that Brahmasputra Siddhanta is an astronomy work. So, naturally some things related to astronomy will be there. So, find now to given the arrows, to find the arrows given the diameter and the erosion. Suppose you are given the diameters and the erosion GH. So, then you can find the arrows. So, the result for this is Vyaso grasona gunau graso naikyo dhrutau bano. The erosion being subtracted from both the diameters, the remainders multiplied by the erosion and divided by the sum of the remainders are the arrows. So, it is you divide these. So, diameter is d1 and d2, you subtract the erosion from there, from these, and then you multiply by the erosion and divide by the sum of the diameters minus by the erosion. So, this is the result. So, one can prove it again all essentially right angle triangles only. So, here the chord is the same for both circle 1 and circle 2, this is the chord. So, that is square root of 4 into that. So, d1 minus a1 into a1 must be equal to d2 minus a2 into a2. So, from this one finds that d1 a1 minus d2 a2 is a1 squared minus a2 squared. So, it is a1 minus a2 into a1 plus a2, and a1 plus a2 is the sum of the arrows, that is the erosion, how much is one thing is eclipsing the other basically, a1 minus a2 into E. So, now you get a1 into d1 minus E is this. So, therefore, a2 is equal to a1 into d1 minus E by d2 minus E, from this, very simple, and substituting this in a1 plus a2 is equal to E. So, we find, so we got a relation, a1 plus a2 is E, and we got a relation between a1 and a2. So, using this we get a1 into 1 plus d1 minus E by d2 minus E is E. So, dH is a1 is this, and g2 gd a2 is E into d1 minus E by d1 plus d2 minus E. So, these are the results. So, now you can do the other way also. So, from chord, suppose you are given, instead of the diameters and the erosion, suppose you are given the arrows and the chord, then you can find out the diameters and erosion. So, that is what is said next. Ishta sharadvaya bhakte jharda kruti sharaphale yutau vyasau sharayoha falayoraikyam grasonamaikyam tat. The square of the semichord being divided severally by the given arrows, the quotients added to the arrows respectively are the diameters, the sum of the arrows is the erosion, and that of the quotients is the residue of subtracting the erosion. So, this is, so essentially you have to same result is there, you can use the similar arguments to get this. There is nothing very thing about it. Essentially, you have to use that result, that chord is equal to square root of d minus a into 4. That is what is done. And this relation between a1 and a2 we had got. Okay. So, the next topic he will discuss is excavations or volume. So, he talks about the calculations of various kinds of volumes. So, he says in the verse 44, Kshetrapalam Vedagunam Samakatapalam Hrutam Tribihi Shuchyaha Mukatala Tulya Bhujayakyanyeka Grahrutani Samarajjuhu. The area of the plane figure multiplied by depth gives the content of the equal or regular excavation, and that divided by 3 is the content of the needle or pyramid or cone. So, this is he is discussing two situations. So, this is this thing where there is a uniform cross section. I mean, the cross section itself may be irregular, but it is uniform throughout. Okay, it is raised by height d, and then the pyramidal volume. Okay, that is it is tapering to some point. Okay, so these are the two kinds of things, and for this he says the excavation volume is area into depth. So, that is a into d, whereas this is called a needle, suchi, sometimes it is called needle also in this thing. Pyramid or cone, the volume is a into d by 3. So, this is the result which is stated. Okay. So, we will discuss this now in some little detail, and for some other things also is discussed. Mukatala Yutidala Gunitam Vedagunam Vyavaharikam Ganitam Mukatala Gunitaikyardam Vedagunam Syad Ganitam Autram Autra Ganitad Vishodya Vyavahara Phalam Tribihi Bajet Shesham Labdam Vyavahara Phale Prakshipya Phalam Bhavati Sukshmam. The area deduced from the moieties, halves of the sums of the sides at the top and at bottom being multiplied by the depth is a practical measure of the content. Half the sum of the areas at top and bottom multiplied by the depth gives the gross content. Okay. So, forget about this moieties, that is some Victorian English, okay, because it is Colebook translation, it means half only. So, essentially what he is saying is that he gives various kinds of approximation and then the exact result, and subtracting the practical content from the other, divide the difference by 3 and add the quotient to the practical content, the sum is the neat content or exact value. So, what is he talking about, that we should understand. So, this is so called frustrum. Okay. This also is an old word, we do not use it nowadays, but anyway. So, what is, see here it is not tapering up to a point, it is tapering up to some value only. Okay. So, it is some, see base is, let us say take the base to be some square of side A, okay, then it is tapering up to some point where the side is A prime, okay, and uniformly it is decreasing, the side of the square from A to A prime. So, that is called a frustum. So, he says for this kind of a thing, the practical measure of volume is A plus A prime by 2 whole squared into depth is a practical volume, and the gross content somewhat better this thing is A squared plus A prime squared by 2 into d. So, that is essentially you are averaging the sides and then taking the square and multiplying by the depth, whereas the next you are averaging the areas, area of this is A squared, area of this is A prime square, averaging that and multiplying by the depth, and the exact value is supposed to be p plus g minus p by 3. So, that is the result he is giving. So, this is the full figure for this. One can find this for a square kind of cross section. So, remember that p comes this A plus A prime whole square by 4, right, that comes. So, A square plus A prime square plus 2A prime by 4 into d. This is the practical, the gross is this. So, g minus p is this. One can show that exact value is A squared plus A prime squared plus A prime by 3. Okay. So, now we can calculate the actual value using standard method. These are stated results, he is not giving any proof. So, how do we get this? How do we see? You can do it like this. The A by H, see, suppose it is tapering uniformly, you see, at a constant rate. So, then A by H, you see this H is the total height, A by H is A prime divided by H minus D, okay, by proportion, because this corresponds to some perpendicular H minus D and this corresponds to perpendicular H. So, as it is growing uniformly or is tapering uniformly, this proportion can be used. So, then A into H minus D is equal to A prime H. So, from this one get H is A prime D by A minus A prime. So, H minus D is this. So, the actual volume will be, so the total volume of this is 1 by 3 A squared H, using the same kind of a thing what we had got for the earlier thing, the full volume, whether it is tapering volume, it is 1/3 of the area of the base into the height. So, 1/3 A squared H is the total volume. From this you have to subtract this volume, right, top volume, that is A prime squared is the area and H prime minus H minus D is the height. So, if you subtract this, so then you will get 1 by 3 A square plus A prime square plus A prime into D. So, this Brahmagupta's exact value coincides with this. So, in fact, why it is 1 by 3? See, that is a, in fact, he is saying that it is valid for all kinds of situations, he is not restraining, contain this thing, but probably he may be thinking of some square or rectangle kind of a thing, but actually it is valid for all kinds of situations. So, how do we understand it? How does one get it in a modern, using the so called modern way, you see, or even if you do not want to do the modern way, suppose you want to, for instance, understand the volume. Suppose you have a square, okay, square is there and it is tapering off to a point, okay. So, then you construct a cube with this side and 3 of them can be fitted in that. So, that is why this 1/3 factor will come, okay. So, one can show, one has to think a little bit, 3 of them can be fitted. So, the volume of 3, so this volume multiplied by 3 must be the volume of the cube, which is the area into height. So, 1/3 factor. In general, how will you get using the so called modern method? See, suppose you have an arbitrary area, okay, and which is tapering off uniformly, okay. So, then see, suppose at this, so this is the total height H, okay, and this is the area A here, and suppose at this point it is X, from here top to this thing, okay. So, then in this case, okay, the volume will be, you can consider discs, okay. So, then this area, see, this is A at X, you can call it, and this A, see, the length is increasing, X is increasing, right. So, at this point the linear dimension will be proportional to X, the linear dimension of the area will be proportional to X and the area itself will be proportional to X square. So, you can say that at this point A of X is equal to A by into X squared by H squared, and this disc, this thickness is dx, okay. So, you integrate between 0 and h. So, integral x squared dx is x cubed by 3. So, integral from 0 to h you get by h squared is there. So, ah by 3, right. So, this is how we get 1 by 3, okay. But what Indians would have done? So, that is, of course, nobody has stated it, but we can guess it from what they do in Yukti Bhasha, for instance. In Yukti Bhasha, they exactly calculate the volume of a sphere using a similar method. So, what they would have done? I am saying, this is not given in any particular book, okay. So, some Western scholar will scream, oh, it is not given in any book, but I am saying, given their methods, how they would have done. So, what they would have done is they will not write a x dx and all the dx and all that they will not write. What they will do would have done, and which is what precisely is done in Yukti Bhasha for finding the volume of a sphere. So, what they will do is you divide this linearly into n parts. Okay. So, suppose this is at ith level, okay, ith level. Okay. So, then yeah. So, they would also notice that the area will be proportional to the the length square kind of a thing, square of the dimension will what will come. Okay. So, this area, so if this is the area here, the area here would be a into I squared by n squared, and this is divided into n parts, right, n. So, h is divided into n this thing. So, this each segment will be h by n. Okay. So, so this will be h by n. Okay. So, now is a squared by n squared. Okay. So, you have to sum over all these slabs. So, this is the area of this slab, this area of this slab is, sorry, the volume of this slab is area is a into I squared by n squared, and the thickness of the slab is h by n. So, this will be equal to this. So, essentially you are getting a by n cubed into h into I square. Now, you have to sum over I is equal to 1 to n total. Okay. And sigma whole over I square, we have got the result, sum of the squares. Okay. And not only that, they will also estimate, the for large n it is stated, it is stated very explicitly that for large n it is n cubed by 3. Anyway, you will come across these things when you discuss Yukti Bhasha. So, then finally you will get h by 3. So, this would be the Indian way of calculating the volume for an arbitrary kind of cross section. So, that is it. Or if you are not satisfied, what you have to do is sigma I squared is equal to what is the n into n plus 1 into this thing will be 2n plus 1 by 6. Yeah. So, and finally, you have to take for large n only, you have to take the limit n going to infinity. Okay. For large n, so only these other terms will be very small because you are taking large n. So, there 1 by n squared will come. So, finally, you get this. So, this is the, so essentially similar kind of, we do not know, Brahmagupta might have used this kind of a thing. Example is given, a square well measured by 10 cubits at the top and by 6 at the bottom is dug 30 cubits deep. Tell me the practical, gross and neat contents. Okay. So, 10 plus 6 by 2 whole square into 30. You can easily, this is the average of the side square into the depth. So, the average of the areas into the depth. So, they are all coming out more or less the same, but not always is it true. Okay. And then he talks about stacks. So, these all these are all things which have to be discussed kind of a thing, something like that seems to be there, volumes and stacks, because for practical applications it is there. So, he says the area of the form or section is half the sum of the breadth at bottom and top multiplied by height, and that multiplied by length is a cubic content, which divided by the solid content of the brick is the content in bricks. So, what he is essentially referring to is a situation like this. There is a trapezoidal cross section. Okay. So, the base is B, the summit is S and the height is H and the length is A. So, it is called a trapezoidal stacks, which is constructed out of bricks. Okay. So, then in that case the area of cross section is B plus S by 2 into H. Remember the previous lecture. So, it dwelt upon it at length. So, the trapezoid in trapezium, you remember the base plus summit, so divided by 2 into the height of the thing. So, that is the cross section, and so the volume is essentially this into A, right, and the number. So, that is what is stated. Okay. Stated volume is this, and number of bricks, of course, obviously volume divided by volume of one brick, right, that will be the number. Okay. So, then measure of shadows, Deepatala Shankutalayorantara Ishtapramana Shankugunam Deepashikocha Shankum Vishodya Sheshodrutam Chaya. So, the distance between the foot of the light and the bottom of the gnomon multiplied by the gnomon of given length and divided by the difference between the height of the light and the gnomon is the shadow. So, that is situation, considering a situation with gnomon, Professor Ram Subramanian meant gaga over it, right, 2 days back. So, that is essentially these are gnomon or Shanku is called. So, this is the this thing height, lamp is here, so it is causing the shadow. So, CT is the shadow, right, CD is the gnomon Shanku, CD, and CT is the shadow. Okay. So, then Chaya. So, AB is the light of a height h. So, CD is gnomon G, and distance between the foot of the light and the bottom of the gnomon is D. This is D. Then shadow is S. Okay. So, then shadow is clearly CD by CT is equal to AF. These two triangles are similar, AFD and DCT. So, CD by CT is equal to AF by AD. So, G by H is H minus G by D. So, shadow S is equal to D into G by H minus G. Okay. So, this is this distance into this divided by H minus G. Okay. So, it is a very, this precisely what is the formula stated by Aryabhatta for finding the length of the earth's shadow in a lunar eclipse. Essentially the same thing, because here it is the sun. Okay, suppose AB is the sun. Okay. So, earth, this is this thing, and then this is the shadow which is there. Of course, moon will be travelling somewhere here. Okay, in a lunar eclipse, when it enters this region, of course, it will be eclipsed, right. So, the shadow is distance between the earth and the sun into the radius of the earth divided by the radius of the sun minus the earth, kind of a thing. So, this is straight away applied to eclipse. And then he discusses shadow at two different positions. So, essentially you have got this is one same gnomon. So, the C1 D1 C2 D2 they are the same, except they are placed at different positions with respect to this light source AB. Okay. So, then when it is here, the shadow is C1 T1, when it is here, the shadow is C2 T2. So, then we have to there are some relations between them. So, that is what he is talking about. So, to define the distance at the foot of the light and the gnomon and the height of the light, given the shadows for two different positions of the gnomon, you see. So, if you are given the shadows for two different positions, you can find the distance between the light and the gnomon and the height of the light. Chayagrantara gunita chaya chayantarena bhakta bhuhu bhuhu shankuguna chaya vibhajita deepa shikhauchyam. The shadow multiplied by distance between the tips of the shadows and divided by the difference of the shadows is the base. The base multiplied by the gnomon and divided by the shadow, that is the height of the flame of the light. So, essentially base is something slightly, he is calling this BT1 as the base. So, C1 C2 are two positions of the gnomon. The distance between the positions of this Shanku is D, and then C1 T1 the shadow, one shadow is S1, the other shadow is S2, these are the corresponding shadows, and the distance between the shadows is C1 T2. So, it is again elementary, similar triangles you have to do, and finally what you get is that H by X T1 T2 is C1 T2 minus CT1. So, various C1 T1. So, various things you will all these similar triangles are there, triangles AB T1 and D1 C1 T1, they are similar, AB T1 and D1 C1 T1 are similar. and similarly AB T2 and D2 C2 T2, they are similar. So, you get H by X is this and so on. So, finally, you get X this base BT1 X is equal to S1 into T1 T2 by S2 minus S1, and height H is shadow into distance between tips of shadows by difference of shadows. So, base into Neumann by shadow. So, this is it. So, these are some of the things which are discussed in Brahmaspata Siddhanta. Of course, there is one more chapter they called an algebra. So, that is contains a lot of interesting results, including this Kuttaka and then all this Bhavana principle and all that, which Professor M.D. Srinivas waxed eloquent about. He will wax even more eloquently in the lectures to come. So, various things are there, and there are many other. Apart from that, of course, he has got this Khandakarjika, where he has got some very interesting results like a second order interpolation formula and others. There is also an important short work on astronomy used mainly for calculations, and that also has got some interesting second order interpolation formula and others. So, Brahmagupta was really a very creative mathematician and a very genius kind of a person. So, he could get various results, and these are some of the things only I presented here. The references are given here. So, thank you.